Have you ever sat alone in your living room, listening to the quiet hum of the refrigerator, and suddenly wondered, what if something happened to me right now? Not something small, but something serious, like a heart attack. No warning, no one around. Just you, the ticking of the clock, and the terrifying unknown. It's a thought most of us push aside, like an unwanted envelope in the mailbox. But the truth is, for millions of Americans over 60, that moment could arrive without ceremony. And in that moment, what you do or don't do could become the dividing line between life and death. Many imagine that heart attacks are loud and obvious. A dramatic clutch of the chest, a collapse to the floor, someone rushing to your side with a phone and fast hands. But real life isn't a TV show. Real heart attacks are quieter, sneakier. They begin not with screams, but with whispers, subtle sensations we often dismiss as indigestion, fatigue, or just getting older. Here's the hard truth. Most people think they'll have more time, that they'll know for sure when it's serious, that help will come fast. But for those living alone or spending long stretches by themselves, the first few minutes of a heart attack are the most critical, and you are your own first responder. But here's the good news. You don't need a medical degree, a defibrillator, or a pocket full of gadgets to survive. You just need a plan and a calm mind. And today, that's exactly what you'll get. This video will walk you through 7 simple science-backed actions that can mean the difference between recovery and tragedy if a heart attack strikes while you're alone. We'll show you how to recognize the quiet warnings your body might send before disaster hits. We'll explain what you should take right away, how to reduce the strain on your heart, and even how to use small but powerful actions to buy yourself the minutes you may desperately need. You'll learn what to do with your phone, your breath, your space, and most importantly, your fear. Because when that moment comes, panic is your enemy, but preparation is your shield. Let me be clear, this isn't about scaring you. This is about empowering you. Because if you're over 60 and live alone, the time to learn how to act is now, not when your hands are trembling, your chest feels heavy, and your mind is racing. Every single step in this video is grounded in emergency medical knowledge and adapted for people just like you. No complicated jargon, no unrealistic scenarios, just practical life-saving tools you can use, even if the only person in the room is you. So please don't click away. Don't tell yourself, I'll watch later, because this isn't just a video. It's a guide, a plan, a quiet promise that if life ever tests you in the loneliest of moments, you won't be powerless. You'll be ready. And here's something important. What we share at the end of this video could be the key to surviving, even if everything else goes wrong. Many people forget the last few steps, and they're often the most critical. That's why we urge you to stay with us until the end. Let's take this journey one step at a time. You don't need to be afraid, but you do need to be aware. Let's begin. Let's learn how to protect the most important person in the room, yourself. Step 1. Recognizing the earliest warning signs. It doesn't always begin with a bang. In fact, most heart attacks don't arrive like the ones in movies. No dramatic collapse, no hand clutched tightly to the chest. Often they sneak in quietly, disguised as something ordinary. A mild ache, a strange discomfort, a fleeting wave of fatigue. But in those hushed moments, your body is speaking to you, and you must learn to listen. When it comes to surviving a heart attack alone, the very first step is recognizing the warning signs while they're still whispers, not screams. The earlier you notice, the earlier you can act. And in an emergency, minutes matter more than anything else. So what do these early signs look like? You might feel a pressure in your chest, not sharp, but heavy, like someone gently resting a brick right in the middle of your chest. It may feel like fullness or squeezing, as though something inside you is tightening a belt too far. For some, the pain comes and goes. That inconsistency fools many into thinking it's just gas or a pulled muscle. But don't be deceived. Breathlessness is another red flag. You may find yourself short of breath even when you're not moving, as if you've just climbed a staircase while sitting perfectly still. Some describe it as a feeling of not being able to take a full, satisfying breath, like your lungs have suddenly shrunk. For others, the pain doesn't even show up in the chest. It may radiate down the left arm, into the shoulder, or travel up into the neck or jaw. It can even settle in the upper back or abdomen, especially in older adults and women. You might feel lightheaded, clammy, or break into a cold sweat, nausea, dizziness, and a sudden sense of unease. Those too can be warning bells. It's important to understand that heart attack symptoms vary. They don't always look like they're supposed to. And if you wait for a perfect match to what you saw in a movie, you may wait too long. Let me give you an example. Richard, 74, was having his morning coffee when he noticed a strange tightness beneath his collarbone. It wasn't painful, just odd. Then he realized he couldn't catch a full breath. A chill ran through his hands and sweat beaded on his forehead. That's when he remembered something he'd read. Not all heart attacks come with pain. Richard didn't wait. He made the call. That one decision likely saved his life. The body often whispers before it screams. That's a phrase worth remembering, because when your heart is in distress, it doesn't always cry out right away. Sometimes it taps you on the shoulder, a nudge, a hint. And those subtle nudges are your best chance at survival, if you don't ignore them. Older adults in particular are more likely to experience atypical symptoms. What feels like a little heartburn could be the start of something much more serious. What feels like a brief spell of exhaustion might be your heart working overtime to stay alive. If you ever feel something you can't explain, pressure, fatigue, a strange ache that doesn't quite make sense, stop. Don't tell yourself, "I'll see how I feel in a few minutes." Don't convince yourself it's just indigestion or stress. Your body knows when something's wrong, even before your mind catches up. Take that feeling seriously. Sit down. Pay attention. Reflect on what you're experiencing. If the symptoms stack, chest pressure and shortness of breath, nausea and cold sweat, fatigue and dizziness, do not hesitate. You don't have to be 100% certain it's a heart attack to act like it might be. In fact, erring on the side of caution could mean the difference between walking out of the hospital or never arriving. Remember, time is muscle. Every minute a heart attack continues, your heart loses blood flow. Cells begin to die. The longer you wait, the worse the damage. But when you recognize the signs early, you take back control. You flip the script from victim to survivor. So let's recap. The signs to watch for: a deep or persistent pressure in the chest, not necessarily painful. Shortness of breath even when resting. Discomfort in the shoulder, jaw, neck, back, or stomach. Cold sweat, dizziness, nausea, or unexplained fatigue. Take any combination of these seriously. Write them down. Share them with people you trust. And most of all, don't ignore them if they ever appear. Your heart may not shout, but it will signal. Be ready to hear it. And when you do, act. Because recognizing the earliest signs isn't just the first step. It might be the most important step you ever take. Step 2, calling emergency services immediately. Once you feel something's wrong, something real, something different, there's one step that must come faster than fear, faster than doubt. Pick up the phone and call 911. Not in 5 minutes. Not after you've seen if it passes. Not after a drink of water or a quick Google search. Now. Because when it comes to a heart attack, time doesn't just matter. It's everything. Every second your heart goes without enough oxygen, cells begin to die. Think of your heart like a fire that's losing air. The longer it's starved, the smaller the flame becomes until it flickers out. But by calling emergency services immediately, you blow oxygen back into that flame. You give your heart a fighting chance. Many people hesitate. They worry they might be wrong, that they're overreacting, that the ambulance ride will be too expensive, or that they'll look foolish if it turns out to be just heartburn. Push those thoughts aside. The worst-case scenario is not calling for help when you need it. The worst-case scenario is waiting and being too late. You don't need to be sure it's a heart attack. You just need to be sure that something's not right. That's enough. Calling 911 doesn't just bring a ride. It brings a response team trained in saving your life. While they're en route, they're prepping, reviewing your symptoms, loading life-saving equipment, ready to intervene the moment they walk through your door. You're not just getting a lift to the hospital, You're bringing the ER to your living room, and that matters because if your condition worsens while waiting or on the way, you won't be alone. You'll have trained hands and calm voices with you, and that could mean everything. Let me tell you about Linda. She's 78. One afternoon, she felt a strange ache in her left shoulder, followed by a cold sweat and a wave of nausea. Her first instinct was to call her son, but then she remembered something a nurse had once told her. In an emergency, call 911 first. Talk to your family later. So she did. By the time the paramedics arrived, her symptoms had intensified. But they were ready. They gave her oxygen, stabilized her heart, and got her to the hospital before her condition turned into cardiac arrest. Her phone call saved her life. Now imagine if she had waited. Imagine if she had tried to drive herself. Hands shaking, vision blurring. It's not just dangerous, it's deadly. People have lost consciousness behind the wheel, crashed, or arrived too late. That's why one of the most dangerous things you can do during a heart attack is try to tough it out, or just get there yourself. So keep your phone somewhere within reach at all times, especially if you live alone. Don't bury it in a drawer or leave it in another room overnight. Know where your emergency call button is. Most smartphones have a way to dial 911 even when the screen is locked. Learn how yours works today, not during an emergency. And if speaking is difficult, if your voice is weak or slurred, use the emergency text feature or press the SOS call button if available. Some devices can even notify your emergency contacts automatically. You might not get a second chance to make this call. And remember, the dispatcher's job is not to judge. They won't be annoyed if it's a false alarm. They'd rather come when you didn't need them than miss the chance to help when you did. Think of 911 not as a last resort, but as your lifeline, your fastest path to professional help. And in moments of uncertainty, it's always better to act. So let's make this clear. Don't drive yourself. Don't wait to see if it passes. Don't call your kids first. Call 911. Right away. Those 3 numbers could be the most important ones you ever dial. Because when your heart is in crisis, the strongest thing you can do isn't to be brave. It's to ask for help. And that help begins the moment you make the call. By now, you've recognized the signs and called for help. Your heart may be struggling, your breath unsteady, but you are no longer standing still. You are fighting. And the next steps, though simple, are like lifeboats thrown into turbulent water. One by one, they can keep you afloat until help arrives. Step 3, chew an aspirin. Slowly, calmly. Your next move might feel deceptively small, but don't underestimate it. Chew an aspirin, not swallow, chew. If you're not allergic and haven't been told by your doctor to avoid it, a standard 325 milligram aspirin can reduce the severity of a heart attack by thinning the blood and slowing down clot formation. Think of it as unclogging a drain, quickly breaking through what's blocking your heart's flow. Chewing the tablet, rather than swallowing it whole, gets the medicine into your bloodstream faster. Critical when every minute is a countdown. Even if your hands are shaking, take a deep breath and focus on this one deliberate act. Joe, age 72, did exactly that. He felt the warning signs, grabbed the aspirin from his kitchen drawer, and chewed while waiting for the paramedics. His cardiologist later told him that small white pill may have saved his heart muscle from permanent damage. Keep aspirin within easy reach, in a nightstand, kitchen, wallet, not coated, not expired. Make sure someone close to you knows where it is. Because when seconds matter, you don't want to be rummaging through drawers. Step 4, sit or lie down. Let your heart work less. Once you've taken aspirin, your job is to do nothing. And that for many is the hardest part. Don't clean the house. Don't unlock the door just yet. Don't pace. Just stop. Sit with your back supported, feet flat, arms relaxed. This position lowers the workload on your heart. If you feel faint, lie down gently on your side with your head elevated. Alice, 81, felt pressure across her chest while washing dishes. Her instinct? Finish cleaning up. But she remembered her doctor's advice. If your heart feels off, sit. Everything else can wait. She settled into her recliner, breathing slowly, and waited for help. That stillness kept her heart from tipping into a rest. You may feel like you're doing nothing, but what you're really doing is everything. You're buying time, you're keeping your heart steady, and in moments like these, stillness is power. Step 5. Unlock your door. If you can, safely. If you're steady enough to do so without risking a fall or further strain, unlock your front door. This might sound small, but it can save crucial minutes. Emergency responders will break in if they have to, but every second of delay means more danger for you and more damage to your home. Paul, 76, lives alone in a condo. When his symptoms started, he called 911, took his aspirin, then unlocked the door before sitting down. When the paramedics arrived, they walked right in and began treatment. That one simple act shaved off precious seconds. If walking is unsafe, don't do it. Your safety comes first. But if you can get to the door, go. Even better? Consider a smart lock or key box system if you live alone. It could mean the difference between knocking and saving. Step 6. Use your phone's tools wisely. Now that you've called for help, your phone becomes your lifeline. Literally, switch to speakerphone. This frees your hands and lets you conserve energy. It also helps the dispatcher hear what's going on in the background. Your breath, your tone, your silence. Even more important, set up your medical ID on your phone. Most devices let emergency responders access your vital health information without unlocking the phone. Include your medications, allergies, and emergency contacts. It takes 5 minutes to set up, and it could save your life if you lose consciousness before help arrives. Susan, 79, passed out minutes before paramedics arrived. But because her phone displayed her medical info, the responders knew she was diabetic and allergic to penicillin. That information prevented a dangerous mistake and helped them contact her daughter immediately. Your phone isn't just a gadget, it's your voice when you can't speak. Step 7. Slow your breathing, calm your heart. In these final minutes, your strongest tool may not be in your hand, but in your lungs. Panic is a firestorm inside your body. It makes your heart race, tightens your chest, and clouds your thoughts. But you can push back. You can take control. Breathe in gently through your nose for 4 seconds. Hold. Then breathe out slowly through your mouth for 6, again and again. This rhythm gives your nervous system a signal. Stay calm, stay here, stay alive. Frank, 83, did this after his chest tightened. He focused on one breath at a time, like throwing ropes over a wild horse. By the time help arrived, he was still scared, but stable. You can practice this anytime. At the dinner table, watching TV, sitting quietly. The more familiar it becomes, the easier it is to return to it when the moment counts most. Final words before we continue. These steps may seem small, but together they form a net, a safety plan that can catch you in the scariest of moments. When you're alone, they become your lifeline. Chew the aspirin, sit still, unlock the door if you can, use your phone smartly, breathe. You're not helpless, you're ready. And in the next part of this journey, we'll show you how to put it all together. Stay with us. Your next decision might just save your life. If you've made it this far, take a moment, not just to reflect, but to breathe. Inhale slowly, exhale with purpose. Because what you just learned isn't just information, it's a shield. A quiet, powerful form of protection that could one day save your life. Surviving a heart attack alone isn't about being lucky. It's about being ready. It's about knowing what to do when there's no one there to do it for you. And if you remember nothing else from this video, remember this: you are not powerless. You've now learned how to spot the warning signs your body whispers long before it screams. You know to call for help the moment something feels off, not later. You understand how a simple aspirin, a steady breath, and a few calm decisions can hold the line between life and loss. And perhaps most importantly, you've practiced thinking clearly during panic, which is the true test of strength. Each of the 7 steps we've explored isn't just medical advice, they are acts of self-respect. They say, I matter, my life matters, I deserve to prepare. Because preparation isn't paranoia, it's peace of mind. Picture it now, you're alone. You feel a strange pressure in your chest. Your breath shortens, your hand trembles. But instead of panicking, you move into action. You recognize the signs. You make the call. You reach for aspirin. You sit, breathe, unlock the door, steady yourself. And when help arrives, you're still here. You've held the line. That's what this is all about. It's not a guarantee, but it is a fighting chance. So ask yourself, what stood out to you today? Was there something you didn't know before? A step you hadn't thought to prepare for? Maybe now you're thinking differently about your phone's emergency ID or where you keep your aspirin. These small adjustments may seem minor today, but in a moment of crisis, they become everything. If this video resonated with you, take the next step. Share it. Someone you care about may not be ready for that moment yet, but they could be if you pass this along. Talk about it with your family. Show your loved ones where you keep your emergency items. Practice breathing together. Make this a conversation, not a secret. And if you found value here, we'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below sharing one thing you learned or one change you plan to make after watching. Your story might inspire someone else, and your voice matters more than you know. Finally, if you haven't already, consider subscribing and turning on notifications. Not because we want numbers, but because staying informed is one of the most powerful choices you can make for your health. This isn't just a channel, it's a community, a space where preparation meets peace of mind. Thank you for watching. Thank you for taking your health seriously. We're honored to be a small part of your journey. Until next time, stay safe, stay aware, and always remember, even when you're alone, you are not alone in this.